Excited, a little nervous, but a lot more excited. Oh, I was looking over there. A lot of family and friends coming out to the game, and then not too many people left on the team, though. I think there's only two guys still on the team since I left, so it's been a really, really big turnover since the end of 2019. But I'll be excited to see them. A lot of the staff are still there, support staff and media people, not necessarily coaches, but yeah, just excited. Want to do well. Want to get a win. Nothing would feel better than getting a shutout and a win against these guys. So, looking forward to it.
Thank you, Dave. We'll now open the floor for questions. We'll kick it off with Ray Hills from Tennessee.
Hey, what's up, Dave? Good to see you. I know you're looking forward to, as you said, going back to play the Galaxy. I wanted to ask you about that, and as it pertains to you guys coming home to open the stadium. 11 points in the 7 games. That's a pretty tough accomplishment to get to. Do you feel like, regardless of whether it's a win or a draw, I know you guys no one likes to lose, but when you think about that, is there a potential disappointment in wanting to keep in that playoff spot goal that you guys have gone for, or are you guys more, going to be pretty pleased with the performance that you guys have put together the past 8 games?
Yeah, we'll obviously want to get a result. I think if we don't, I guess we can look back and say, yeah, we've probably been equal or the better team in probably 6 of the first 7 games. The only time we really got outplayed was Dallas. We've played really well and really solid against all these teams. So I think going in and playing, we'll see how we play against LA, but going in and playing 6 out of 7 games on the road really, really well is something to be proud of, even if we don't get a result in LA. And then even if we play poorly, I think we have such a quick turnaround and so much hype to the home opener that it'll be kind of easy to forget and just completely move forward and just focus on this game coming up on May 1st. And then know that we have a large stretch of games at home where we can start winning and building momentum. I think I saw one of your guys' posts or some guy on Twitter post that I think the Timbers had the highest points per game average on an away stretch to start a season, and ours is already way higher than that. So it's something to be proud of, even if we don't do well in LA, which I hope we do really well because I want to beat them. But yeah.
Thank you, Dave. Claudio.
Dave, when you compare teams you play so far, especially the forwards, according to your scouting, what does Chicharito, just to give you an example, a single individual example, brings to the table that will make you play different, or perhaps the back line of not to play different because of what he brings to the table?
I think he's just a clinical finisher, and he's very, very smart with his runs in the box. He'll make 2 and 3 runs and try to get you biting on one of them. I saw him score a really nice goal against Portland where they got the ball wide, and he made literally 3 different runs trying to screw with the center back. And the second the center back bit to one of the runs, he just cut to the back post and was just sitting wide open at the back post. So just kind of his awareness and experience of timing his runs and stuff like that it's second to none. And it's something I've been watching in previous games, and it's going to be really tough. But he's not going to beat you athletically with blistering pace or super strong, but he's just very, very smart player, and he's clinical in front of goal. So if you give him any space to score, he's going to score. So just constantly being active 24/7 mentally and just being prepared for any little juke or fake he's going to make, I guess.
Seems to be on with the next question.
First of all, thank you for reading about that stat. Second of all, when you look at what you guys have accomplished with that, does it kind of color what you expect or feel like you need out of the last game of this long road stretch, knowing that you've already accomplished something that basically nobody's ever done before, or does it make you even more hungry and say there's still a little bit more out there?
I think we're definitely still more hungry because, like, our goal going into the season wasn't like, hey, let's just get the most points in history on an away stretch. It was, we want to compete for a supporter shield, and we want to do a lot of things this year. And in order to do that, you have to pick up points in every single game you can and just play as well as you can. I don't think any supporter shield winner has ever been like, hey, those last 7 games were great. They've just next game, and they just keep pushing forward. And by the end of the season, you're like, we have a lot of points. We've done really well. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy with how we've been going so far, but our team is kind of built on competing literally every single game and bringing a great mentality to every game. So I don't think we would ever rest on our laurels or ever be too complacent in what we've done in the past, I guess.
Dre Hills with the next question.
After this game, you guys have had 2 training sessions at the new stadium now. So I'm curious to know what your overall thoughts of the surface, how the ball plays, getting a chance to get settled in your locker room and all that stuff, as it compares to kind of in the context of you getting a chance to play at a new stadium elsewhere. How many games or how much time do you think that it'll take for you guys to actually make it feel like a home and get used to playing at home?
I think a lot of that depends on the fans too and how hyped they're getting at games. If we're winning and we're scoring 2-3 goals and everyone's really excited, it'll feel a lot more like a home. But in regards to the stadium and the pitch, stadium feels really, really nice. 30,000, they're right on top of you, so it's going to be really loud. And then, honestly, the pitch has been perfect so far. I think the first time we trained there, it rained like crazy the night before and the day of, and it wasn't getting torn up or chewed through at all. It's definitely one of the nicest pitches I've played on at MLS, and it held up to the weather really well. So the only problem is our first 2 games are in the day, so we'll see how dry the pitch gets, I guess. I usually prefer night games because once the ball is slick and the speed of play is a lot faster when everything's wet, but I'm sure they'll water the field, but then it usually gets dry within like 20-30 minutes into the half. So I guess that's the only worry about the pitch, but so far the pitch has been perfect, honestly.
Team Sullivan with the next question.
When you look at what your time at LA was like, are there like tips and tricks that you give your teammates, even though most of the personnel has turned over? Okay, there's a weird corner over here, and, they're calling the stadium nowadays, and all that sort of stuff.
No, honestly, LA's pitch is, I would say, top 3 in the league normally. So I always thought, being in LA, this is probably the worst home field advantage in the league because it was always a really nice pitch and just perfect weather. So it wasn't like going to Houston and it's like 90 degrees and humid and the team isn't used to it, or it's freezing, or it's a bad pitch or something weird. It was always just like 70 degrees, perfect pitch, so it was just perfectly even. So hopefully we can just get a win. That's all I really care about, honestly. But yeah, nothing really. I think in the past when it was Bruce's team in like the early 2010s and 15s, he made the pitch really, really big, and so they would just spread teams out and just pass around them. But I don't think it's the same size anymore, but that's the only thing I think would be different.
Thank you, Dave. We will conclude today's media availability with a question from Ben Wright.
Yeah, Dave, just going back to when you first signed for Nashville, I remember you bringing up some stats, just talking about how you felt potentially underused and undervalued in Los Angeles. And then now after that, you've played essentially every minute for Nashville and been part of one of the best defenses in the league for the past 2 years. Does that kind of give you anything extra heading into that one, just knowing how things ended in LA and how it's gone so far in Nashville?
This is all I could ask for, honestly, and extremely happy that it's gone well and I've gotten to play. That's all I really wanted in LA. And I had a few seasons where I got to play a lot. But yeah, I'm not sure too many fans have maybe kept track of my story or Nashville per se. So all they're going to know is, oh, hey, here's Dave Romney again. And so if we don't do well there, then they're going to be like, oh, thank God we got rid of him, or like stuff like that. Even though we have done well for 60 straight games, even if we just have one bad game, they're like, oh, that's why we got rid of him, or something like that. So, but no, I'm not too worried. Confident we're going to play well. We've played well. We've in pretty much every game this season, and LA has a lot of challenges that we're going to face, but I think we've played a lot of really good teams this year, and I think we're going to do well. Yeah.